After about a year of not playing Overwatch, I finally decided to come back and give it a try. Really try and get back into it with no malice, no bad blood from my 9-year toxic relationship with this game, as you guys know. And I'm gonna say this once, and you can choose to not believe me. I really don't care because it's the truth. The reason I wanted to give it a try is because when I sit down and think about how this game got me to where I'm at today, tons of people who love my Overwatch content and my Overwatch videos, and for me to just throw it all away, just abandon those followers and stop making content on a game they enjoyed watching me play, I go and leave it all behind to play Rivals. Now, I have no problem with Rivals. A lot of people are gonna say, haha, I knew you'd get tired of that sloppy game. I'm nowhere close to being tired of Rivals. I am still extremely addicted to it. After about a year of constantly getting comments telling me they miss my Overwatch videos, hey Raider, please play Overwatch. Hey Raider, I don't play Rivals, but I still watch your videos. I finally decided to play this game for 7 days straight. And what I was looking for is not necessarily a fun experience, because I think at this point it's pretty much impossible for me to have fun on this game, but I was simply looking for a bearable experience where I can just grind content every now and then to appease the people who want Overwatch content to come back. I had many ways to make this video. I could have been apologetic and say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have made that I quit video and bashed Overwatch as hard as I did, but then I played 5v5 real cute and said, nah, fuck that. I was totally valid in being that pissed off. So here's my experience. Let's start off with my 5v5 Roll Q experience, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can fucking guess how this went. So starting off, let's talk about tanks in 5v5. Playing tank in 5v5 was miserable, but not for the reason most of you were probably thinking. When I first made my video about the tank experience in 5v5, I mainly spoke about counter swapping. That was like the main point in the video. However, I didn't really find that as annoying this time around because of two reasons. The first reason, after playing a year of Rivals, which is 6v6 open queue, I realized that counter swapping will be in the game no matter what. So you realize that counter swapping will be in the game regardless. It is a part of this hero shooter genre. Now, is it enhanced in 5v5 and feel a little goofy? Yes, but how do you think Black Panther players feel when you go, thing or no more against them? Counter swapping can get just as goofy in 6v6 open queue. And the second reason counter swapping wasn't as annoying is because of the ban system, which is so fucking amazing and 10 times better than the system Rivals has. There are no double bans like there is in Rivals, where both teams ban Wolverine and Emma. And with this system, if you are going to play Diva, you can just ban Zarya. You can just ban whatever is going to counter you. So counter swapping wasn't an issue, but what was an issue was needing to choose between peeling and making space. So many games the enemy would go ball/dive and my supports would go Mercy, Zen, or some dumb shit, and I was constantly just stuck in our backline trying to protect these supports because they simply don't know how to play Brig. I peel for the ball. You can't kill the ball because it's 5v5. He rolls away. I begin to walk to the point. The ball engages again on my backline and rinse and repeat. It genuinely feels like I'm stuck in a loop. You go to the point and leave your supports, then your supports die. Babysit them, and then you can never make space or contest the point. It is just so fucking aggravating being the only tank and having to do so much. Now let's talk about the tank role from the POV of DPS and support players. First of all, a lot of people say that they are tank mains and enjoy 5v5 because it feels like they have an impact. Motherfucker, that is just objectively flawed mentality. First of all, if you need to be a fucking Walmaria, an actual Titan, to get value on tank, then that says a lot about your skill level. Second, it is objectively a flaw to have one person on each team be this fucking raid boss and have so much power over the outcome of the game. Here's a perfect example. I had a game where I had a Winston main and the enemy had a Roadhog. I was on support, and in 5v5, if your tank decides to go dive tank, say bye-bye to any structure your team has. If 5v5 is going to stay the main mode in this game, they need to get rid of the team and team-based shooter, because when your tank goes dive tank, it just feels like a fucking deathmatch. You will not have a front line. Everybody's going to be scattered around the map doing their own thing. It's kind of like in Marvel Rivals, if you have a solo tank fucking Thor or solo tank Captain America, it's just not going to work. We had a Winston main walking past this hog and diving the enemy backline, and we are just fucked because now the hog is just standing main like an immovable fucking map obstacle, and my tank doesn't want to swap. So like, what are you supposed to do? Now a lot of people are gonna say, well, in 6v6 you can still get 2 dive tanks that ignore the hog. The hog will be killable because they are not juiced up unkillable fucking machines in 6v6. And that Winston Hog game is just one scenario, but it's a fundamental flaw. If you have a dive tank, you just won't have a front line, and like good luck, because now you are gonna play Dead by Daylight with their hog. Might as well start fucking going around the map trying to find machines. Now there's another scenario I had happen to me a lot on DPS. So imagine this: the enemy has hit scans being pocketed by like a Mercy and Bap, and they are on a high ground map like Dorado, for example. Now you are on DPS and your tank refuses to go dive tank to contest these fucking pedophiles sitting on high ground. Can someone tell me what the fuck you are actually supposed to do on DPS to deal with them by yourself? If my tank refuses to get off Ryan, Zarya, JQ, refuses to go dive tank, how am I gonna deal with the fucking Avengers sitting on high ground by myself? It is just so fundamentally flawed. I cannot get over. My anger is gonna start to rise because I just can't get over the fact that I just don't see why 5v5 is the main mode. So let's talk about my support experience. My goodness, was it the most boring sack of shit gameplay. I actually underestimate how much having a 6th player affects the flow of the game. In Marvel Rivals, stuff is constantly happening. In 6v6 Overwatch, stuff is constantly happening. I had so many moments in 5v5 where nothing was happening. Maybe I'm just brain rotted to the max, but there were legit moments where nothing would happen for minutes. Like people would just stand around, just standing around poking at each other. I mean, my god, I got zero stimulation in that game mode because it just feels so empty with one less player. Again, 5v5 feels very deathmatchy, so what that does to the support role is it makes it so you basically have to DPS the whole time, since your tank is probably a ball in their fucking backline. Your DPS are getting 2-tapped by an Ashe or 1-tapped by a Widow, so they don't need healing. So you just DPS, and as someone who plays support in most games, if I wanted to fucking DPS, I would queue for the DPS role. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to heal by. I know people are gonna say, oh, so you just want to heal by, typical Rivals player. I'd enjoy like a 70-30 split where 70% of the time I'm healing and supporting my team, and the other 30% I'm doing damage. In 5v5, if you're on support and don't go a DPS support and don't DPS more than 50% of the time, you're like just basically throwing. So immediately I'm turned away from 5v5 because the role I love playing isn't really the role I love playing. It's more like DPS 2.0, which a lot of people say. Now that I got rid of my biggest gripes with 5v5 and absolute dog shit game mode, let's talk about 6v6. Now again, 6 of the 7 days I played Overwatch, I played 5v5, and people kept asking, why aren't you playing 6v6? Why aren't you playing 6v6? And for me, it was because 6v6 wasn't the main mode. And the best way to describe it is, remember when Open Queue was its own competitive game mode? I prefer Open Queue over Role Queue. I think Role Queue just doesn't fit my personal interests, my personal playstyle. I play a lot of different heroes and roles. I don't like playing the same thing, and Open Queue rewards me for that because I can just fill any role. Being locked into a role feels miserable when you know like one part of your team is lacking. For example, like get negative DPS in Role Queue, get DPS who struggle in 5v5 Role Queue, and you're just like stuck with them. You can't ask them to swap. You can't be like, hey man, you're struggling, you want to go support and I'll go DPS. No, there's no doing that. You're just like kind of fucked. Again, you need a dive tank to contest high ground, but get a fucking Ryan main. Congratulations, you're stuck in a 15-minute miserable match in Role Queue. You get 2 supports who go Lucio Mercy. Congratulations, you're stuck in a miserable 15-minute match in Role Queue. Basically what I'm getting at is I enjoy Open Queue, but you didn't see me play competitive Open Queue because it wasn't the main mode. I mean, we all seen how GM Open Queue players were like plat in Role Queue. That's how I thought 6v6 was gonna feel like. I thought it was gonna feel Mickey Mouse, not to mention they haven't updated it and don't update it. But on the final day of my little adventure, I'm like, I'm fucking miserable. 5v5 is so goddamn ass. I don't want to come back to this game. You know, back to wishing death on the devs for keeping 5v5 as the main mode. But then I'm like, I have to try 6v6 if I'm gonna make a video giving my opinion on the game. Mind you, again, a lot of people are gonna think I was being like subjective, but no, there's no reason for me to be subjective when trying 5v5. I know my entire Overwatch career I was like a pro 6v6er, but at this point I couldn't fucking care less. So I promise you, I tried. I really tried to enjoy 5v5 and tried to keep an open mind, but I just couldn't. The fundamental flaws just popped in my face and tilted the absolute fuck out of me. So on the final day, I decided to try 6v6, thinking there's no way I'm gonna come back to this game, and then boom, instant dopamine hits, instant neuron activation. Mama, hold my hand because it feels like I took a blast in the past. It hit me instantly. I'm like, this is Overwatch. This is the game I loved. Also, remember when I said I was scared it was gonna feel like Mickey Mouse and not competitive? I had more people talk in 1 day of playing 6v6 than 6 days of playing 5v5. Tanks actually died. They couldn't position like fucking orangutans and not get punished because they were raid bosses. They actually died. It's funny because I know a common argument used against 6v6 was, imagine going against Hog and Malga. Oh my god, these 6v6ers are so stupid. Funny enough, I went against Malga and Hog and it wasn't a problem. You know why? Because they're actually killable. A lot of people hate OpenQ, and the most commonly used argument is them getting 5 DPS players. And from 1 year of playing Rivals and after playing 6v6 in Overwatch, I still have yet to experience this myth. Because if that's happening, I guarantee you're like in bronze or silver, in which case I don't see how you think that's an OpenQ problem. That's just the players in your rank simply not knowing how to play the fucking game. They don't play the game right. They don't play the game how it's supposed to be played. That's why they're in bronze and silver. And I end this video with this, my final decision. I will come back to this game and make content on it again. I will mainly play the 6v6 game mode and make rants and get these fucking brain dead devs to actually give it some attention. A lot of people are gonna think it's wrong for me to come back to a game and cry, but I really don't give a shit and never did. I will make rant videos on this game along with toxic compilations. Will this be permanent? Who knows? I have no idea, because I can see myself getting bored playing a neglected game mode. Again, I came into this mission, I came into this test looking for a bearable experience, not necessarily a fun one, and I damn sure didn't get that with 5v5 roll. But 6v6 OpenQ absolutely shocked me with how much fun I had. Again, I didn't do this because anything is wrong with Rivals. I love Rivals, and it's still primarily going to be my main game. But I did this for the people who kept asking me to upload Overwatch again. You can think what you want and question my prerogative, thinking I'm doing this because Rivals is quote-unquote dead or that I'm tired of it. You can do that. I will balance Rivals and Overwatch content for the foreseeable future. And yeah, that does it for today's video. I love you guys. I can't wait to upload that first Overwatch toxic video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. And remember, no matter how much you fuck up in life, remember that nothing is a bigger fuck up than Overwatch and these brain dead fucking devs making this game 5v5.